There was a moment this season when the MVP race didn't slow down. It stopped.
The biggest story in the NBA today, three-time MVP Nikola Jokić will miss at least 4 weeks after hyperextending his left knee.
Nikola Jokić walked off the floor in Miami holding his knee, and in that instant, the league had to confront an uncomfortable question. Can the best player in basketball lose the MVP without anyone outplaying him? Because when Jokić left, he wasn't chasing the award. He was already winning it. And now, 4 weeks of absence, one rule, and two rivals stand between him and history. This isn't a debate about stats anymore. It's a debate about what the MVP actually means. Start the season there, not at birth or childhood, but at the beginning of the fight he was supposed to win. By December, Jokić had been doing everything the MVP conversation asks a candidate to do. Carry offense, create with assists no center had ever fully owned, rebound like a man with two jobs, and anchor a top-tier team record. His per-game lines were jaw-dropping, roughly 30 points, 11 to 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. And his Nuggets sat near the top of the West, playing through a roster riddled with bumps and bruises. He wasn't just piling stats, he was making Denver hum. That level of sustained multi-category dominance is the very definition of an MVP resume. Now the injury, a hyperextension in the left knee with a bone bruise, not catastrophic, not season-ending, but enough to sideline him for 4 weeks and force a tough public arithmetic. The NBA's 65-game eligibility rule for awards, with limited protections for season-ending injuries, is not a hypothetical here, it's a real gatekeeper. A star can play MVP-level minutes but still be disallowed from the ballot if he misses too many games. Jokic's status, a three-time MVP who had started the year as the favorite in many insiders' eyes, suddenly had to survive a rules calculation as much as a statistical one. The optics matter. Availability is now an explicit criterion, and an injury stretch like this is an immediate handicap in the vote. But pause the alarmism for a second. There are two separate arguments you must make when judging Jokic's MVP case after this injury. One, the on-court case. How convincing was his play before he got hurt, and could that body of work be enough to carry him through voting? And two, the administrative case. Will he clear the 65-game threshold or get an exception to be eligible at all? Both are important, and they cut different ways. On the on-court ledger, Jokic's 2025-26 was historically dominant. Through the first 32 games, he'd averaged roughly 30.6 points, 11.8 rebounds, and 11.0 assists per game. A triple-double average at a volume that practically writes its own highlight reel. He was leading the league in both rebounds and assists at various checkpoints and ranking among the top scorers. Those raw lines are monstrous, but the deeper argument is about translation. His usage led to efficient team offense, his passing changed how opponents had to guard the Nuggets, and his post-up and pick-and-roll reads created higher quality shots across the roster. That's the kind of multi-dimensional production historically rewarded by MVP voters. Now compare the competition, because MVP voting is inherently comparative. The early straw polls and ladders show names you already know. Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, atop many ballots, with others, Giannis, Wembanyama, and encore seasons from the likes of Luka or LeBron in some narratives, also circulating. Luka and SGA aren't just co-stars in the conversation. They have clear advantages the voters love. Monstrous scoring with team success, durable health, and fewer obvious barriers to meeting the league's game thresholds. Luka was pacing the league in points per game and producing near triple-double output for a Lakers squad, while SGA posted his own MVP-level scoring and efficiency, leading Oklahoma City in usage and team success. Those rival cases are clean and compelling because they combine volume with availability. So let's map the trade-offs in plain terms. Peak dominance versus availability. Jokic's per-game peak is arguable, the single most unique set of numbers in the league. A center averaging a triple-double while leading a winning team is not just rare, it's an outlier. That's the peak card he plays. But Luka and SGA play the available and carrying card, maybe lower on the rebounding or passing axis, but architecting offense while rarely missing games. Voters often prefer the latter in close calls because one can't vote for a season someone only partially completed. Narrative durability. Jokic is a three-time MVP already. That history helps and hurts. It helps because voters know what they're measuring. Sustained impact beyond just scoring. It hurts because sometimes narratives prefer a rising disruption, a new face taking over a repeat. Luka and SGA have their own narrative arcs. Luka's move to Los Angeles and the reshaped Lakers story, SGA's continued elevation into the league's fulcrum figure. And voters love an emergent storyline. Still, Jokic's cumulative dominance is hard to dislodge when talking pure impact. System versus solo genius. Jokic's brilliance is also structural. The Nuggets offense has been increasingly crafted around him for years. That's a double-edged sword in voting terms. Some voters discount system-boosted stats, arguing the player is the product of design. Others celebrate a player who elevates a system because it shows transfer of value. Luka and SGA are often framed as the singular engines of their teams. I'm the offense types that voters easily correlate with MVP. Jokic's style requires voters to accept that a center can be the purest engine in a shooter-sized era. He has been winning that debate until injuries complicate it. Let's dig into specifics that shape a voter's ballot. Per possession dominance. Jokic doesn't just rack counting stats. His on-off numbers historically swing with him on the floor. He raises teammates' efficiencies. Consistently flagged Jokic as the league's most efficient hub. In the first stretch of the season, he was at career-level efficiency while shouldering usage that, for most players, would shred percentages. That type of efficiency with volume is the classical MVP engine. The triple-double argument. Triple-doubles are smexy, but MVP voters historically look beyond spectacle to direct impact. Are those assists creating easier shots? Are rebounds leading to transition points? In Nikola's case, the answer is yes. His assists frequently led to high-value shots, his rebounds were rarely empty, his court vision was creating advantages that persisted across possessions. That makes his triple-double not a novelty, but a functional signal, team record and context. Before the injury, the Nuggets were in the top tier of the West, despite multiple roster injuries. Jokic is the main reason Denver stays competitive. Voters weigh wins heavily. If the Nuggets manage to keep winning during his absence, and evidence from past seasons shows teams can bake in new looks for short stretches, that could both mitigate the availability risk and keep Jokic's narrative strong. Conversely, if Denver falls in the standings during his absence, voters may penalize him as the team's anchor. That's the cold arithmetic of MVP ballots. Reputation plus recent team performance equals momentum. The 65-game gate. This is the administrative rub. The league's rule requires a minimum number of games to be eligible for awards, with limited carve-outs for season-ending injuries or narrow minute exceptions. 4 weeks out raises the spectre that Jokic might miss enough games to fail the threshold. Voters and pundits already debate whether the rule is too rigid. Jokic's case is the sort of real-world wrinkle that forces the league to reckon with the rule's consequences. If he can return and play a high percentage after the 4-week mark, he preserves eligibility. If he misses more time or if other intermittent absences pile up, he risks disqualification on technical grounds even if his per-game case remains the best. Now compare side by side with the leading challengers, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. SGA's 2025-26 scoring and efficiency are elite. He's littering the stat sheet and anchoring Oklahoma City with star-level usage, while the Thunder hang near the top of the West. He's durable and a pure volume play with elite efficiency. If Jokic misses significant time, SGA's combination of scoring and team success is the clean alternative for voters. SGA also benefits from being a younger face on a franchise that's trending upward in narrative terms. A new era pick. Luka Doncic. Luka's box scores read like a video game, point totals, rebounds, assists, clutch finishes. He's carrying the Lakers with monstrous per-game numbers and a team that remains competitive. Luka's case is more traditional. Primary creator plus elite scoring plus team success equals MVP talk. In close ballots, Luka's high-volume premium is persuasive because voters see a direct line from his production to wins. If Jokic is partly missing, Luka's all-around ledger makes him the safest alternative. Other names: Giannis, Wembanyama, and a dark horse like Tyrese Halliburton, or an ascendant Brunson-style candidate, could wedge into votes depending on health and team performance. But the primary jockeys for December's headlines are Jokic, Luka, and SGA. The arithmetic of voting will hinge on who voters believe produced the most impact while meeting availability rules. Tactically, what does Jokic need to do to win this despite a 4-week absence? Return explosive and efficient. When he's back, his per-game dominance must remain intact, and the Nuggets must show he is the engine in the minutes he plays. A post-return stretch of 10 to 15 games that looks like his early season form could sway voters who weigh overall season impact over raw games played. Minimize collateral absences. The team must protect him and avoid staggered absences that compound the game's missed math. If Denver can give him a contiguous window of availability after the break, the 65-game threshold becomes realistically reachable. Hold the standings line during the absence. If the Nuggets fight through January with wins and remain top 4 in the West, Jokic's case remains rhetorically clean. His team is winning because he made them better, even if he missed a small window. Narrative control. Media and insiders will influence ballots. Jokic's historic pedigree, 3 prior MVPs, and the spectacle of his triple-double averages will feed narratives that a repeat is a rightful recognition. If voting feels like a choice between the best player and the best available player, his brand can push voters toward valuing peak. But narratives ebb. Every missed game chips away a little. There's also a human side to this equation. Jokic, historically, has played in a deliberate, almost philosophical rhythm. He's unflashy in demeanor, but maximal in effect. He's a player who adjusts play calling on an instinctual level, reads defenses from the hip, and turns the court into a playground where he sets the terms. That temperament matters. Voters often prefer candidates who look like leaders, not just statistical machines. Jokic's quiet efficiency, his habit of making teammates better while keeping a steady emotional keel, makes the repeat argument simpler because voters already trust his impact is real and not a temporary genius. Injuries blunt that human momentum, but they don't erase persona. Now, a practical thought experiment for voters. Imagine 2 ballots. Ballot A. Jokic plays 67 games, averages 30/12/11, and the Nuggets finish top 3 in the West. Ballot B. Jokic plays 58 games, but in those games averages 31/13/11, and the Nuggets finish top 3. Which ballot looks better? Historically, voters have preferred consistency plus availability, but Jokic's career shows voters will also reward transformative per-game seasons. That paradox is the reason this specific moment, an injury at the apex of statistical dominance, is one of the great modern award dilemmas. Let's close with a cinematic frame, because that's how the public will remember this season's arc. Imagine Jokic's return game after the 4-week layoff. He jogs out, the camera catches him breathing measured, the opponents try to test his lateral, the crowd holds a collective question. He walks the post like a man who has carried an entire team on his back before, and then slowly, insistently, begins to make the same plays. The lobs, the no-look passes, the step-back threes that feel like violations of gravitational norms. If he returns and the Nuggets surge, the injury will be a footnote in a dominant story. If he returns and the team limps, the injury will be a chapter that splits the season and possibly the award. This is why the MVP conversation in 2025-26 is not merely mathematical. It is a story about recovery, about what constitutes value in a season that keeps asking players to be both near perfect and near constant. So, what's the verdict? It is not binary. Nikola Jokic's 2025-26 MVP case after this injury is real and powerful. His per-game dominance is among the most compelling any voter will see. The injury complicates technical eligibility and narrative momentum, and it hands an opening to Luka and SGE. The season's final judgment will depend on recovery, the Nuggets' ability to survive January without him, and how voters weigh peak production against the new structural requirement of availability. If he returns and produces a late-season stretch reminiscent of his early months, he's not done. If the absence slides into a longer drift, the award math will likely favour the durable, high-volume creators who never missed a step. Either way, this is the kind of story the league loves. A great player tested not only by opponents, but by the calendar and the rules. Jokic's answer, how he plays after the 4 weeks, how the Nuggets respond, and how the voters tell the story will define whether 2025-26 becomes another stamp in his MVP legacy, or a cautionary tale about the price of human fragility in a league that increasingly rewards presence as loudly as performance. Did the injury steal Jokic's MVP, or did it make his case even more heroic? So let me ask you this: should MVP reward the best player or the most available one? If this story stayed with you, not just the highlights but the ideas behind them, this channel is built for that kind of basketball thinking. I'm growing it slowly alongside a full-time job. Subscribing is the simplest way to make sure these stories keep getting told.